And she goes, and I don't mean bullshit California sober. I'm talking no fooling Robert Downey Jr. sober. You got me? And I'm just like, go!
Yes.
Like
I was
that.
like, rewind.
I love that so much. And that is a huge compliment to Robert Downey Jr.,
Yes.
who we all know is in long-term recovery. He walks his talk. He uses his platform for good. We're all in on Iron Man. We are. And like, that is the sober pop culture I am signing up for. Like, oh, I love that moment. I rewound it. I watched it like 5 times. Welcome to the Sober Curator podcast, where sobriety isn't just a lifestyle choice, it's the ultimate life hack. I'm Alysse Bryson, your fearless guide to a world where hangovers are canceled, fun is mandatory, and we still know how to shut down a dance floor, just with better shoes.
And I'm Tamar, aka T-Bouge, your co-pilot, chaos coordinator, and the one who keeps Alysse from turning this podcast into a full-blown reality show. Buckle up, sober party people.
From lifestyle and travel to pop culture and zero-proof cocktails, we're serving up the stories, trends, and guests that prove sobriety isn't just about what you're missing. It's about finally remembering where you left your keys. Let's get the party started. Oh, did you want to see my disco balls? I also have disco balls. I'll rub my balls on my face. No problem. Be here all day. Okay.
We could just end now. I've had more fun in the last 5 minutes than I've had in a while, so I'm good.
Hey there, sober stars. Welcome back to the Sober Curator podcast, where recovery meets red carpets, and we never apologize for loving a good TV binge. Today, we're taking a fast break into Running Point, the series where Kate Hudson runs a basketball team, manages drama like a boss, and gives us emotional arcs with just the raise of an eyebrow. I am super excited about my fellow binge watchers that are here with me today. First up, we have Lane Kennedy and her guns rocking the AC/DC t-shirt. Lane is best known on the Sober Curator site for a lot of different things, but she is currently leading her column called Spiritual Substance. Mm-hmm. Next up, we have Megan Swan, our resident health and wellness coach. Welcome, Megan. Thanks for wearing a trucker hat. I feel like you and I are twinning. It's great. And then we've got Bill. He's the most sober and most not mature person on this call. Welcome, Bill, from the Sober Not Mature podcast. And then, of course, I have my trusty sidekick, T-Bouge, who's always at the ready and on my right hand. Okay, today we're talking about the new breakout series on Netflix, Running Point, with my favorite, Kate. I love Kate so much. Those of you that are not familiar with Kate Hudson, you should be. My favorite movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, behind the Goonies, which we've already established that I'm a Goonie if you listen to episode 1. But one of my favorite movies that she's in of all time is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, because basically that's the story of my life. She worked at a magazine. I worked at a magazine. She had problems dating. I have problems dating. She made a scrapbook on like day 4 of dating someone. I have embarrassingly done that as well. It wasn't day 4, but it was week 2. I started a family scrapbook. Yes, I did. So I was really excited to see her starring in this show, where the setup is basically she is in a family in LA that owns a basketball team. And she runs this team with her siblings. She's got, is it three brothers, right? And she's like a middle child in that lineup. And her oldest brother is the one who's like been left in charge. And what we know about her, she's come to work for the family team because she was a little bit of a party gal. She was kind of wild. She did some Playboy basketball jugs in front of her. And then it's implied that she kind of hit a rock bottom. We don't know if she went to rehab or not. It doesn't say that, but we do know she was not in a great place and she was partying too much. And so her brothers take her in and give her a job running the charity arm of the basketball team. And so that's where the show kicks off. That's her role in the family business. And then the oldest brother we find has an alcohol and cocaine problem. And was there something
Crack.
else? Crack.
Yeah, he
right.
loved crack.
He
So
loved
that,
crack.
yeah, that's,
He loved crack. That was
that's
an
one of
important part.
my favorite lines when they're in the hospital, because and that opens up too. He's running down. I think he's in a Porsche cruising down the freeway, doing coke, doing this, doing that, and obviously gets in an accident. But yeah, in the hospital, he's confessing all these things to his family. He's like, yeah, I do this and I do that. And I do cocaine. Oh, and I do crack and the crack. And he's like, I love crack. And then he says he's going into rehab to try to figure out how, obviously to get better or to figure out how to hide it better. Then he's like, I'm just kidding. I couldn't stop laughing at that, going into rehab to try to hide it better. And I'm like, yeah,
That
a lot
tracks.
of us have been there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and he didn't just get in an accident. He ran into a restaurant with people like sitting outside.
Right.
Now it's implied that nobody died, right? So that was a good thing. But I think this show does a lot of great points throughout all the episodes of like making real points of what does the destructive behaviors that do happen to people dealing with addiction, but they do it in kind of a soft, light, funny, upbeat kind of way. But I feel like they don't lose the seriousness of the points that they're trying to make. Does anybody else agree with me on that?
Right. And the problem, I guess, part of the problem of me kind of glossing over the fact that he ran into a bunch of people is that, if anyone listening to this or anyone on here, if you've ever been to a meeting, I mean, there's stories that you hear all the time. And years ago when we first got sober, this guy was telling the story, same type of thing. He goes, I was out, I was drinking, I was partying. He goes, I went off the road, and he goes, I ended up, with my car inside, some guy's living room. And he just keeps on talking. Then he stops and he says, the only place you can tell a story like that and not have anyone flinch that ends in, I put my car in somebody's living room. We're all just kind of like, well, of course you did. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? And, he got in an accident. He ran into a bunch of people. Of course he did. It's a good example of maybe the delusion of, or maybe where we get used to, just that is what happens to, kind of back to your point, Alysse.
That was at the beginning part. I was definitely thinking, is this just how normal this level of craziness is? That it's funny and it's light and yeah, like you're just sharing it openly with your entire family. I don't know. I couldn't decide whether it's progress or not.
Well, it definitely is dipping into stereotypical and a little bit of stigma, but I'm in the camp that I think it does it in the right way and it still keeps it light and funny. Lane, what about you? Thoughts?
I think it's normal.
Yeah.
Like straight out of the gate. Like, of course, that's what we do.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like that it's so normal now that this level of problematic behavior is so normal. Yeah. And normal and like that kind of elite, like everything else he embodies as well.
Well, and we learned that obviously it's an affluent family. They own a basketball team in Los Angeles. It's implied, I don't know if it's in the first episode, but definitely in the episodes that follow, that their father was also like a partier. We don't know how he died, I don't think, but we know that their father had a real rock and roll party lifestyle. So this family dysfunction, they are treating like all of these bottoms as if it's just part of what happens.
Right. And I wonder too, and Megan, that's actually a good point, trying to figure out and I think all of us on here, people who are alcoholics, drug addicts, went through the thing and went through the stuff. I think we look at this a little bit differently because yes, this is or was, well, thankfully was our normal. I don't think much about people getting into an accident like that. Granted, somebody hurt somebody. I feel for that. And I know a lot of people that got into some horrific circumstances, with things like that. But part of it too is that, wondering are they making light of it from an entertainment standpoint to draw people into the problem? Nobody's going to, I'm not saying nobody, people don't sit down to watch serious TV shows and movies for the most part on alcohol and drug abuse because it's depressing. It doesn't bring clicks. It doesn't bring eyeballs, but if they can put it in a comedy like this, I didn't know what it was about. It popped up in like whatever it was, the top 5 or top 10 for Netflix. When I started reading, I'm like, well, this sounds like fun, but maybe it is the mindset of, I think you're right on both sense. It's progress, but it's also making some of it normal, realizing that, hey, this is what all of us deal with, but you can laugh with it. It's okay. We're not hurt by it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that scene, Bill, I agree with you when they're in the hospital and he's like, I love crack. Like, I love crack so much. And then when him and his sister, when Kate is with him alone and they're talking about the company business, and she's like, I've always wanted to try crack. Like, to me, that is entertaining because, I mean, we know how destructive it is, but also we can relate to that, right? Like, it's like, oh, these things are so good when you're in it. And now it can be something that can be a little bit more humorous, but also the family dynamic. You can see the chaos with, the father, and because she does go through really well and brings up parts of the upbringing and what their father did and stuff like that. But, you have the child that is neglected and that felt never loved and what impact that has on his life in the show. And then you have the one that's, running the show, but is the biggest, like, just chaos coordinator, basically. So I think it was really well done in that way because you can see how it's affected all of the kids in the show. And I feel like that's incredibly realistic, especially because they have a ton of money. So it's probably amplifies a lot.
Well, and that like constant reminder detail where she's, hurting herself on the drug drawer in the office.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Well, and there's another part where the brothers that are not in rehab, the two other brothers, they're not happy with how their sister is running the business. They're very concerned and they think they need to like start a coup and take over, right? So they go to talk to their brother because they're like, we can't do anything without talking to him. And when they show up to visit him at rehab, he's like, did you bring me any drugs? And they're like, no. He's like, do you have any cocaine on you? And they're like, no. And he keeps asking, like, are you sure? And yeah, that tracks.
There's it just shows the dysfunction, the whole dysfunction, and how each person has something going on, right? Like maybe he's the middle brother, the basketball.
Yeah, the one that got injured.
Right. Like the insecurity around him, right? And then the accountant where he's the controller. Like I need to control everything that's happening. I know what's right. Right. Like it kind of exemplifies all the personality traits that addiction creates. Like it doesn't have to be just one person, right? It touches all of the lives of a family. So it goes back to alcoholism is a family disease. And we're seeing it in this mini series or whatever the show is so beautifully in a gentle way, in a comical way.
Well, and we even, when you mentioned the brother of the accountant, who is the youngest of the four, not only does he have control issues about the family business, yet he doesn't know a lot about basketball, but he's trying to control the narrative of his love life. Like he doesn't introduce his lover of a year to his family. Like, and they know he's gay. That's not a surprise. So it's like, what's that about? So I do love all the layers for sure.
The dynamic between those two brothers too, the kind of the goofball, mess up, insecure basketball player and the gay brother. And of course they've shared things over the years. And I was going to, and I should have written down, I got to go back and watch it at some point. I should have done it before this, but he brings up a couple of terms. He's like, so he's talking to his brother, the brother that's gay, and says, well, you need this. And the brother's like, he goes, I never should have told you those terms. These are some like sexual terms that he shared with him. He's like, I never should have shared that with you. And so they have this.
That's funny.
They have this gentle and childlike relationship. I mean, they're adults dealing with, big time things and big time issues, but then they go back to like their two little boys, sitting in the living room talking back and forth. And it just cracks me up because, we joke about, the name of our podcast is Sober Not Mature, but our episode last night that we recorded, the growth that we have as individuals and these human beings, once we get into this thing for a few years is amazing. But everyone always says, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, that, whenever you started, drinking or using, your growth gets stunted. And I believe that because I know where I was. I know basically when I started drinking actively, like 17 years old, that sort of thing. And I got sober when I was 41. And even though I was an adult on paper, I had no coping skills. I had no life skills. I didn't know how to deal with things like death, and yes, I paid bills sometimes. And yes, I had relationships, but I ruined them. I didn't know how to deal with things. So, you look at these, again, these two characters, and again, the older brother too, that everyone has been stunted a little bit by, maybe possibly by the family dynamic.
Mhm.
And again, I don't know. I don't know what about everything makes. I don't know about hereditary things. I don't know about, if I was predisposed. I know I'm an alcoholic, and I know I know what the solution is, and I'm in it. That's all that matters to me. But there's a lot of people that, they look back and they're like, what part of my family life can I look at to build this? I'm just an alcoholic. I'm fine with that, but I know a lot of people, maybe that's opening people's eyes also watching that.
Okay, now I want to pivot to one of the players that we
Pivot.
know is struggling with addiction,
Mm.
who is in real life Chet Hanks, the son of Tom Hanks. And he actually just recently celebrated 3 years of sobriety in his real life. So that's why I feel like they probably did their due diligence on getting the scripts right
So
for this
right on the money.
show
Mhm.
with addiction, because he would have had a voice in that, which I really appreciate. And this is the shift. This is the shift I've been just waiting to happen in the industry, because I want to be entertained. And these are the jokes that I laugh at. So you guys, my favorite line, and if you haven't watched the show, just turn off this episode right now,
good.
because I'm going in for the spoiler. I don't care. I love it so much. I'm going to put it on a t-shirt. She is talking to him. So he showed up at her house. He's like, I have a drug problem. His team members have like outed him, and they're like, he's like, I need to get help. I've got this problem with pills. But they're in the playoffs, right? And so like they don't want him to go to rehab yet because they're in the playoffs and he's a really important part of the team. And she's like, okay, you just have to be sober until we get through the playoffs. Like he could just magically do that. Is hilarious. And then after that, you're going to go to rehab. And she goes, and I don't mean bullshit California sober. I'm talking no fooling Robert Downey Jr. sober. You got me? And I'm just like, fucking go.
Yes.
Like
I was
that.
like, rewind.
I love that so much. And that is a huge compliment to Robert Downey Jr.,
Yes.
who we all know is in long-term recovery. He walks his talk. He uses his platform for good. We're all in on Iron Man. We are. And like, that is the sober pop culture I am signing up for. Like, oh, I love that moment. I rewound it. I watched it like 5 times.
Yeah.
I made a clip of it. I posted it on the gram. Like, loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
T-shirts coming soon.
Whew, I loved it so much.
So the actor playing him is his son, or it's just an
Tom
No,
Hanks,
it's
yeah.
Tom Hanks' son in real life. Yeah.
I didn't know that piece.
Which
Interesting.
I didn't know either. I've known that Chet Hanks. First of all, didn't know his name. I knew his face. He was in another show I watched recently, within the last probably handful of months. So I knew the character, or I knew him as an individual. I didn't know who he was, and when you posted that came up, I think, in the email. So hint, I do read the emails that come out, the Sober Sip things. Yes, that's my plug for those.
Plug. Good job, Bill. Points for Bill.
Yeah, Sober Sip every week on Mondays. Check it out. Sign up. But when I saw that, I'm like, really? And I had to look it up, because I'm looking at him. I'm like, that he doesn't really look like the two of them. There's not like this natural resemblance that you see with certain stars. So I had no idea who he was, or that he was sober in real life. But this character is perfect. He's filthy. He's inappropriate. He's wonderful.
So inappropriate.
Yeah, and a drug addict on top of it. I'm like, this guy's
he's
wonderful. I love
With
him.
mommy issues. Let's not forget his mommy issues.
Oh, the mom. Let's
Oh,
just
yeah,
go
she's
there for a
terrible.
minute. She's a
Oh, that scene when he like goes to just kiss her in the restaurant.
Oh, yeah,
goes
yeah,
to
with
kids.
Kate,
Kate
with Kate
Hudson.
Hudson. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
It's like no boundaries.
No boundaries,
No.
completely just not, just a man child, a total man child. and I'm here
But
for
only
it.
somebody with real experience could pull that character off like that.
Agree.
That is what is so beautiful about him stepping up to the plate and owning that character. That
Right.
it's like, yes, thank you for that. Oh, so good.
So when there are a lot of, and I don't necessarily, and maybe I do, I get gravitated towards them or gravitate towards, TV shows and things like that with alcohol and drug abuse. But maybe it just comes up in, the algorithms and Netflix and all the stuff that I've watched. And there are very few, in my opinion, there are very few shows that handle things the right way. That don't, you can tell that somebody read a couple of books and did a little bit of research, because they'll throw into, hey, keep coming back. It works if you work it, all these, these typical things. So they'll stand in a meeting and hold hands. And I'm like, yes, people do that. We do that. But when people get it right, it's refreshing, because then you can look at it. If I don't get mad after watching a show that has an alcoholic or an addict in it, and I didn't think about it until we were just talking about it now, I didn't get mad once. I laughed throughout that show. Didn't get mad at how they portrayed recovery, which means they did it right. Because if they don't, I'm not saying I'm an expert on it, but I've been there. And if they do it wrong, I'm just like, ugh, here we go again. I'm like, we're not all that way. Some of us are, and sometimes I've given some hugs and worked if you worked in the meeting, but man, that's not all that we're about,
I totally get it. All right. I want each of you to weigh in on what your favorite part of the series was, besides that iconic line that's going to go on the matching t-shirts we're all going to get. I'll go first because I'm going to. And I just want to, like, the nod to the stylist for Kate and her outfits, the power suits.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to tell you, it made me want to rethink my closet and be like, oh, maybe I do want to dust off some of those power suits and bring them back post-pandemic, because like she was rocking. Her style was rocking throughout the show. So that was something I really loved. Lane, what about you?
I agree with you. It made me feel like, oh yeah, it's time to get back into it. Like, let's go, let's get dressed up. I bought some new clothes. I'm like, okay, I'm in it. So I totally agree with you on having the stylist show up and suit her up looking good. One of my favorite parts is when she just bang right into the glass window. Like, how many times?
Every
time.
time. That's so good. Every time.
And that would be me. I would do. I could 100% see me doing that and being like,
I can see you doing that too.
Where is this window coming from? Right? Like, what? Every time. That was
because she's so in the moment, and she's like, she's just got all this energy charging, and she just bam, just smacks right into it like multiple times.
Loved that piece. Loved it.
Megan, what about you?
Two.
You can have two.
Okay. So first is just how, like, all of those things, like, she's on it and she's also making mistakes all the time. And at the end, she's doing a good job. Like the reality that there can be complexity in someone taking over a position like that, whether they're a woman or not.
Mistakes at full speed. Yep. Here for it.
Yeah. And then just the last scene where I was like, there's going to be a season 2 and like romance. I would break. I won't say a lot, but that was definitely, I feel like I was happily binging it. And then I got to the end and I was like, oh my God, now I'm like in.
Like, you're committed. Yeah, you're committed, literally. Tamar, what about you?
I kind of have a pattern that really I was so happy with. Because, I mean, first of all, when she comes into the show, she has this confidence about her, even though she has really no idea what she's doing. She knows a ton about basketball and she owns that position. But every time she goes to make a decision in the show, first she goes with her like snap reaction, like the app, for example, right? They're going to have the 4 biggest teams. It's going to make them all money. All of a sudden, as she sits on it for a little bit, she starts to see the reality of what the consequence would be because somebody mentions it to her. And she always ends up making the right choice in the end after she sits on it for a while. And everybody goes like, what are you doing? And it creates all this chaos, but it always ended up being the right choice for the team. And I think that is so cool. And that is so realistic as we go to make these. Like, we react, a lot of us, but when we actually take the time to sit on something for a little bit of time, it ends up being the right choice, even though in the moment it might not feel like it. So she always does the right thing for the team.
Bill, what about you?
I mean, two things I was thinking of as everyone else was talking. First of all, the fact that the show didn't make me work at all. I mean, it's I do watch a lot of Netflix and that sort of thing, but I didn't have to work really hard to get into the show. But I could just sit and watch and be engaged and grab all of it. That was number one. But also the fact that I wanted to binge that show, and that doesn't happen very often with me, where I'll watch a particular show like that within 3 days. So that's number one. But the other one was just back to the humor part, back to the dad and the extremeness of their family life. When Kate is talking about, her character is talking about converting to Judaism, and they have this big meeting, and they pull out this big paperwork where the dad specifically had it written down that if anyone converts, and I think it was like specifically to Judaism, they're cut out. And I'm like, that's a level of racism that is unbelievable. To not only have the idea, but have it written down that specific. And I think here's the other part. They did that in a way where, yes, I mean, we all understand racism is horrible. It's lessened, in the years. I'm in my late 50s, and I had grandparents. I knew people at different levels where racism was, I don't want to say extreme, but I've seen far worse than what we see today. Although we could always get better. That's 100%. But the fact that they brought it up in that way to realize that, hey, this is what it could be, and this is what it was. And then the brother that's gay is like, I'm surprised there's nothing in there about gay marriage. That maybe I couldn't stop laughing because, yeah, specific down to converting to Judaism, but it's okay. That he forgot, maybe he forgot or didn't know about gay marriage. It just, even something as sensitive as that, they did well.
Well, and it made me wonder, did the father know the boyfriend before he passed? And was that like targeted at him because he knew from the get that they weren't equally yoked or matched right? Or was that just,
that's a good
he
point.
was just completely racist? Like, we don't know.
Yeah. And I didn't think about that part. I just thought about, man, this dude's a racist.
Well, there's that. I mean, there's so many elements to this. The characters are rich. There's layers, right? There's him having the affair and then having this new child come into play.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about the fifth brother.
Right? Like, and how he kind of fumbles about, and how they, again, portray this going through the lawsuit. Are they going to go through the lawsuit? Is he going to take the money? How is he going to be, brought into the family? Like, the fact that they bring these issues up and put it in our face, applaud, like, let's go. Right. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Well, and I think how they portray, like, how he essentially, I mean, at least for a moment, like, falls into all of the stereotypical traps that one does when they're all of a sudden presented with a whole lot more power and money.
STDs. They talk about STDs. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like
the goofy brother
in our faces, right? Like, it's so well done.
I can't remember what the medical, the team doctor says about it, but we understand that it's something he deals with like every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said a bit. He goes, I could see this. He goes, I already could see there's a problem because you have this. He goes, if you want me to go through and waste it, he says, if you want me to waste a needle, I will. But he said, he goes, if I could smell it, it's gonorrhea. And then he's like, nope, you're good. It's just this. And I'm like, that's so disgusting. But then the goofy brother, after he finds out, he's sending him to the doctor. He tells him it's going to be okay. Gives him a big hug, and he's like, congratulations on all the sex. Right? It's just. He's like, it's okay. You're fine. Just go get it taken care of. Congrats on the sex. Nice job.
So funny.
So many good things. One
Easter egg that I caught on to that I hope is just somebody knows something and it's just a forecast of the future is when she's going to make negotiations because she's trying to save the team and she's trying to save some money and she's just trying to do all these things. She calls these other coaches, owners on a plane, and they are presumably the Seattle team. Mm. And I'm like, yes, Sonics are coming back. Let's go. So that I hope that is a foreshadow of what's to come because I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were just making fun of Seattle and say, well, you used to have a team.
Well, they
but now
could
you
be.
don't.
Yeah, they could be that too. It could be that too. Well, you guys, even honestly, if Kate can navigate sobriety adjacent family drama and run that basketball franchise in her power suits, then I can definitely not spiral out on the group texts that I'm in that make me want to poke my eyes out. So that's why I loved this show, right? They did it so well. It delivered good comedy. And they could have gone wrong. Going back to her making the right decisions, when she makes a decision, this is another spoiler. So if you haven't watched it, like you're still here, that's on you. When she makes the decision to pull him out of the playoffs and put him into rehab because it's the right thing for him, like that is intentional. And that is huge. That is such a big statement for our community and for doing the right thing. It didn't, 10 years ago, the storyline wouldn't have played that way. We all know it wouldn't have.
Well, and I think that is a
Not at all.
very specific nod to how a woman would look at that situation differently.
Yeah, you're also right. You're
Yep.
also right on that. You're also right on that.
And not only that, but they end up losing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
like he's not there. Yeah.
You're thinking they're going to win it, right? Because most shows, that's how they end it. And the way they lose is so like, this never happens in basketball. Like, I thought
It's
that
so
was really
real.
cool too. Right? It was like, okay, good. Like, she made the right choice. It had the right ending, and they lost.
Yeah.
I'm just so here for this show. We might have to raise the Sobe rating on the website now that we've all talked about it. But so that's a good question. We're going to go into our sober shots. Pew, 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 pew.
God.
Bring out Lane Shaker again. This is rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you. We're going to go in a row. It's going to go Lane, Megan, Bill, Tamar, and we're just your first answer. Here we go.
Oh God.
What's your Sobe score on this show? On 1 to 5 Sobies, what's your score, Lane?
Oh, it's over 5.
Over 5. Megan.
Oh, 5. Yeah, for sure.
Bill.
5.
Tamar.
5.
It's unanimous. I'm raising the score on the site. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2, you have a sober drink of choice, and these are your only 2 options, so you can't say something else. Are you going to drink a lavender spritzer or a triple shot of espresso? Lane.
Lavender.
Megan.
Depends what time of day. Like either.
Oh my gosh.
No, there's only 2 answers.
These are your
All
2
right.
choices, Megan.
Espresso.
Bill.
Oh, yeah. Fuck me up with an espresso.
That's
Definitely.
right. Yeah. Tamar.
Espresso for the buzz.
Okay. Let me see. Would you rather? So, ultimate sober hangout. These are your 2 choices. You're doing a Sunday sound bath in Malibu, or you're at a no phones allowed dinner party with the cast of this show. Lane.
With the cast, no phone, all in.
All in. Megan.
Same.
Yep.
Bill.
Cast.
Tamar.
Same.
Who is
Okay,
going
so-
to a sound bath? Who cares? Jesus. So
I feel like
overrated.
all of us in a room, that's a sound bath. Like that's a sound wave pool.
All right. Well, our new way of ending these episodes is for me to do a little storytelling on one of the tchotchkes from my collection of crap. It's the new thing Tamar wants me to do, and I never pick it before jumping on here. I just go and I grab something that is around me, and I try to tie it in with
There's
what we're
something
talking
green
about.
behind you. What is that green thing?
Yeah, the green
right
guy.
there.
What is that?
I love
The
that.
light.
Okay.
No, I love this
Guess
one.
this is
Eat
it.
that?
What is that? Oh my God.
Is that like
This
if you can
is
squeeze it?
a
Is it
large
jelly?
acrylic gummy bear by
Who feels
a
like
local,
gummy bears right now?
Who's it by?
It's a local artist in Seattle. We'll put her Instagram link in the show notes because
Super cute.
I can't remember her name right now. I want to say it's Crystal something. And Libby Sundgren, my bestie that I host a different podcast with, Beats Working, Winning the Game of Events. She loves this artist. She's been collecting many pieces from her, and it's all candy. And if you know Libby, she only eats candy. Well, she eats a lot of vegetables too, but she eats a lot of candy.
Yep.
And so, yeah, she got me this I think it was for Christmas. And like, I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
It's adorable.
It pops.
It
It
pops.
pops like sober
pops.
pop culture.
See what you did there.
Well, thank you all for showing up. If you're not currently subscribed to the Sober Sip that Bill mentioned earlier in the show, you should be. We send it out to our super users on Mondays. We send it to our full list on Wednesdays, promoting the new podcast. And then we send out the Fast 5, because we've got 5 on it on Fridays, of 5 things that we think you want to know going into the weekend.
Which is the best. That 5 is the best.
It's a good little mashup just to get your weekend started. When it slides into my inbox, I'm like,
The little videos that go with that, each one, that's like my favorite.
Alex is the Giphy queen. If you guys, Alex is the publisher of the site and the founder of the Break Free Foundation. She produces 2 shows a year at New York Fashion Week, and she is literally the Giphy queen. So when you enjoy those newsletters and you laugh at all of her Giphy art, make sure to do a shout out to Alex, because she is the best at picking out some very funny Giphies. Well, that's all the time we have. As we like to say at the Sober Curator, getting sober matters. Staying sober, it matters more. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Alysse Bryson. And until next time, keep it real, keep it fun, and keep it sober. Thanks for tuning in, because let's be real, we're way more fun than your ex's drunk texts.
If you laughed, learned, or just need more of our voices in your life, honestly, I mean, who wouldn't? Hit that subscribe button, leave us a review, and send this episode to your sober or your I swear I'm only drinking on the weekends besties.
And if you have a story, feedback, or hey, maybe you just want to slide into our DMs like it's 2012, well, you know we're here for it. Find more curated magic at thesobercurator.com. And remember, getting sober matters, staying sober matters more. Until next time, keep it real, keep it fun, and keep it sober.